What's up, everybody? It is Friday night, and I'm ready to do some cooking. Except today we're not cooking. Well, we actually are cooking, but we're baking. We're gonna make some biscuits. But for these biscuits, I'm gonna need some bacon. So, I'm gonna make some bacon. I forgot to turn the heat on. I already got a, I don't know what you would call this. It's like a flat pan. It's not very good because, as you can tell, it's kind of warped, so it doesn't actually make contact with the heating element, which is a little obnoxious. So I'm gonna turn it on high for now, but then I'm gonna turn it down to low once it gets heated up a little bit, because I want to cook these on low heat, which will take a little while. But that's okay. It's Friday night. I got time. If I can cut this. I'm doing this a very weird way. Let's just cut down here, huh? Only the tip of these scissors really work, so sometimes it can be a little bit tricky. Just rip it to get the bacon out. Holy cow, look at that. That's such a thick cut, and then these ones are not thick. What's going on, Pendleton, Oregon? Oh well. Okay, I'm just gonna slide this whole thing out. I'm sure that this is exhilarating content. So this bacon, this bacon, holy scheisse, look at the size of that bad boy. This bacon was pretty cheap, so I'm kind of curious why, and I think that the reason might be that there's a lot more meat than fat, but honestly, I kind of like that. We'll see how it turns out. Another issue with this particular pan, look at this. That's so thin compared to that one. Okay, this one's going in the middle because it's gonna take the longest to cook. I'm honestly probably just gonna eat that one and not put it in the biscuit, because I think it's gonna be too thick to for what we need. Okay, look what's going on here. These ones are all super thin. Weird. I'll just double check. Yeah, it's one piece, all right. All right. Let's keep getting these bacons on here. I could make them in the oven, but I haven't made bacon in the oven in a while, and I didn't really feel like looking up, the time. Ooh, these are kind of turning gray. That's interesting. Okay, that's getting pretty warm, so we're gonna turn that down. I'm gonna set it on medium. Usually I cook it like on low, but today I kind of want them to cook a little bit faster, and I'll keep these ones for later. I was thinking maybe I'll just cook them all. Well, I've already touched inside the bag. May as well put the bacon in there. All right, we're just gonna do that. Don't know why I'm putting the packaging in there, but I am. Oh yeah, look at this bacon. It's turning all gray. Weird. Okay. So there's that. Yeah. I'm drinking some Western cider, El Dorado hard cider. Delicious stuff. Need to clean that. Another local favorite. Although, I kind of like their other ones that they can better. And we got groceries to unload. I got a shitload of whiskey, which I like. I get this because it's super cheap, and I've been drinking just whiskey Cokes. And I'm mostly concerned that I'm drinking so much Coca-Cola, because I'll usually have like one whiskey Coke after work. And I don't know, soda is so bad, but it's so good. I got some milk, I got some chocolate, so in a future, well, I don't know if I'm gonna record it, but I am gonna make some cinnamon rolls. I got some cream cheese. Oh yeah, that was for another type of biscuit. Oh well. Buttermilk. I don't think I needed that cream cheese. I got a bunch of cheddar just cause it comes in handy. I got an orange. Got some whipping cream. I got some upside down eggs. Look at these beauties. Oh, they're beautiful. They're expensive, but they're beautiful. And it's local place. So it's, I don't know. I mean, the eggs don't taste any different, but I got some Parmesan as well. We're gonna use that for this recipe. I made some pizza last night, and it was kind of a disaster. I mean, it turned out okay. I got some Scrubbies because I have never owned Scrubbies, so I'm gonna try them out. Boom, bada bing, bada boom. Okay. Anyway, yeah, it turned out okay. It was just such a messy process. All right, these are also for. I like that this guy that packed my groceries put the meat in with like flour and cleaning products. It's nice move, dude. Also, yes, I'm sorry I'm throwing away these plastic bags. There's the recycling place here doesn't take plastic anymore, which is ridiculous. I should find a new place. I usually reuse the bags, but I haven't been. I'm sorry. I know. I should use reusable bags. I need to get some. Maybe this channel will hold me accountable to that. I got some flour. I got some stuff to clean my dishwasher. So I'm going to put all this away and charge up the old camera battery so I can record the rest of this process. But yeah, we got some bacon cooking. It's going to be a while. I don't want to start making the dough for the biscuits right away just because I don't want the flour to get too warm in the dough. I don't know once you've made it if it really matters. I know it, but when you're like, you know, originally kneading it, it matters that the butter isn't like too warm. But anyway, I'll see you when this bacon's done. Maybe. Come on. All right, we got this bacon about where we want it, even maybe a little past where we want it. Took a while. I wasn't really timing it, but it took a while. I'll show you how I passed the time. But we wanted these nice and crispy because we're gonna be crumbling them. Yes. Also, I realized that I don't have one of the ingredients that I needed for the recipe I was going to use, so we're switching gears. We're using a different recipe that does not require sour cream because I don't have sour cream. We're gonna get the grease off these guys. Let them chill for a bit. Hang out. Get crunchy, get crispy. Okay, and then we're gonna snag this bacon grease. Oh man. And store it for Don't get it on your fingers, it hurts. We're gonna store it for later use, because it can come in handy when you want some extra fat. Honestly, another thing that's really good for bacon grease is, and you're gonna wanna not put the lid on this right away, because it might build up too much pressure, but I'm gonna let that cool down. Ow, I got bacon grease on my hands. Didn't hurt as much as I thought it would. That's good. Got some bacon grease in the drain now. That's lovely. Yeah, anyway, this is what I do when I'm waiting for something in the kitchen. I usually just read some of this book that is from C-SPAN, which is my favorite place to get information about the government, because there's no opinions really, except for the people that call in, who are usually pretty crazy. But yeah, reading about presidents, because I never really knew much about a lot of them. Anyway, so this recipe that we're doing, it calls for, I got the ingredients ready over here. I got 2 cups of flour, so that's gonna go in the bowl. A tablespoon of baking powder, a teaspoon of salt. I use kosher salt, and we're gonna mix this up. You could use a whisk if you want, but our hands are getting dirty here soon anyway. And then I need to melt this butter. So we're gonna start melting that while I grab a spatula. So the original recipe I was gonna use, both of these are from the Food Lab, which if you don't have this cookbook, get this cookbook. It is insanely good. I've just been going through it, cooking everything from front to back, which has been great. I'm almost done with the breakfast section, which this is a part of. But yeah, kind of expensive, definitely worth it though. So both of these recipes are from that. The original one that I was gonna use was for like flakier buttermilk biscuits, but since I don't have sour cream, I'm just making this quick biscuit recipe, which isn't gonna be as flaky, but that should be fine. Ah! Butter's getting too hot. All right, now we want half of this. I'm just gonna measure it, just because that's gonna be easier. So this was 4 tablespoons of butter. We might have lost a little bit in the explosions in the fridge, but what are you gonna do? All right, so we're gonna mix that in a little bit. Get buttered. Also, I'm not showing the actual like recipe in the book on the screen, because I don't know how, like, you know, copyright works with recipes and cookbooks. If anyone knows, let me know. Anyway, just gonna pour this. This is heavy cream or whipping cream, and it's a 1 1/4 cup of that. So we're gonna mix that in, and that's gonna make our dough. Mix it up until it becomes a shaggy dough. Everyone loves a shaggy dough. All right. That's pretty good. So, get our hands a little dirty there. Move this butter away. Oh, also, we need to preheat this oven. I always forget to preheat the oven. I had so much time to do it too. All right, we're gonna preheat this to 425. And it's gonna take a little while. So we're not gonna be able to get this dough in right away, but that's okay, because I'm going to be adding the accoutrement to make it a little bit fancier. You ever had them fancy biscuits? Oh shit, they're pretty good. Anyway, sorry. I'm in a weird voice mood today, apparently. I'm usually in that mood. All right, we're gonna get this on the counter. And we're gonna mush it all together. And add flour as needed. Now, I don't know. I'm assuming you don't want to overwork this, but it's really easy to work. And actually, dang, Kenji, you got the exact measurements, because that is pretty good. It didn't need much extra flour or anything. All right, I'm gonna kind of roll this into a little bit of a ball. And oh, I love messing around with dough. Get this in there. All right. Okay. Rolling pin time. We're gonna roll this out. And so in the man, don't even really need the flour on this. In the original recipe that I was going to do for the flaky biscuits, basically it has you kind of layer the dough and fold it over itself. Now, it doesn't say to do that in this quick biscuit one, and I don't know if it'll make a difference with this one because the butter is melted and not not just like mixed directly in cold, which makes for little like pockets of butter. But I'm gonna fold it anyway, just because I'm curious. All right, now that we're getting this stretched out, we do need a little more flour down here. Man, I was saying I made pizza the other night, and gosh, it's so much easier to work with this dough than pizza dough. Pizza dough is a nightmare. All right, I'm gonna fold this over in thirds, and then we're gonna fold it again in thirds the other way, and we're gonna roll it out. I think this will be good. I think it'll help. Yeah, I was trying to think of like, you know, some stuff to talk about in these, because again, they're not just going to be like, they're not your average cooking video, because they're not just, hey, you know, here's a recipe, it's really nice and edited. It's just kind of, you know, real cooking with me just talking about some random stuff. And And yeah, what's going on in my life? I actually got a vaccine because there's so many, like, places where vaccines are available right now. But I feel kind of bad because I think I went a phase too early. So I'm feeling kind of guilty about that. I mean, they were just, pretty much anyone. Anyone can go and get a vaccine. But if you look on the, state's website of, what phase we're in, I'm not quite in that phase. So I feel guilty about that. I'm trying to think of some way to, make it up to society. So I might have to volunteer somewhere. I was thinking maybe like a nursing home or something, or like a senior center or something, just all those people have been cooped up for so long, so I don't know if they're letting, if you have a vaccine, if they let people volunteer and, just keep them company, but if so, that would be rad. Okay, this grater has a better small setting. So, I'm just gonna grate a bunch of Parmesan in here. And then we're gonna put those bacon bits in. Man, I wish on the GoPro app that the battery indicator was a little more detailed. It doesn't really tell me how much battery's left. It just has, an icon. But the icon's so small. Anyway, I think we'll be good. I don't really know. Forgot to look how much Parmesan to put in, but I'm just kind of winging it here. Maybe half of this block, but Parmesan's good, so can't go wrong. Oh, you know what I should have done? I had some leftover, nice pecorino. But that might have been too funky for this. I think that's probably good. That's quite a bit of Parmesan. Parmesan's, relatively strong. Maybe a little more. I just really want it to taste like cheese. All right. That's good. Now we gotta crumble up this bacon. See how crispy it is. Oh yeah. Perfect. Oh man. This is gonna be delicious. Crispity, crunchity bacon. Okay. Gonna keep that. And I honestly thought that I was only gonna have to use a few pieces of this bacon, but shoot, we might use almost all of it. It's gonna be very bacony. Oh man, my hands are just covered in grease now. All right. I'm gonna say that's good for the bacon. Okay, maybe a little more cheese. It's just the last time I made this with cheddar and green onions, and used 4 ounces or 2 ounces, something like that, of cheese. So it was quite a bit. All right, that's good. I'm done messing with it. Let's fold it one more time. this away and that away. And here we go, the final roll. I think we're gonna time this perfectly with the oven preheating. Yeah, that's pretty much what's going on. Recently getting vaccinated, which is awesome. I still have to get my second one, but that'll happen. So yeah, I'm really just happy that like a lot of my family has gotten vaccinated. Just because it's been so easy to get an appointment. Yeah, other than that, work. Yeah, work. Getting sick of it. But turns out you just have to do it to like make a living and everything. So I'll keep doing it. I am a software developer, and so I develop software, and it's good. It's challenging for sure. All right, I think that's about as thick as we want it, so we're gonna start cutting it out here. I don't have a normal cutter, whatever you call it. Sorry, I'm kind of scatterbrained today. Scatterbrained a lot lately. I don't have a cutter, so I'm just gonna use a glass. But we need some parchment paper so they don't stick. Ah! And we're about ready to go. I'm very curious to see how these compare to the other ones I made. Seems like there's less dough, but I don't think that's the case. I think I used the... Oh, no, there is less dough. The other one I used 3 cups. All right, oven is preheated. Heck yeah. All right, what do we got? 5. That's pretty good. All right, and then with your excess, you just kind of mush it all together. And we're gonna roll it out again. Now it's getting a little sticky. All right. You can make them as, thicker if you want. You can make them thinner. Well, I wouldn't make them much thinner than this. These are really thinner than the recipe calls for, but I kind of like that because then I can eat 2 and not feel bad about it. Because the bigger ones, this one's really small. I have just different sizes. It doesn't matter too much. If it's just me, so I'm not really worried about everything being perfect. But we're gonna get as many of these out of this dough as we possibly can. I think this is gonna be perfect. Perfect! We'll get a weird one here. All right, and that's all we're getting. That's what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Ooh, that's pretty good. And then you just eat this. Just kidding. Throw it away. Don't eat raw dough. I think it's bad. Well, there's no egg. You could eat it. It's just, be kind of weird. All right. So we got half of this butter left. And I tell you what we're going to do is we're going to brush these little babies with a little butter. Turn them into little butter balls. Little butter biscuits. That'll warm your heart right up there. Get some butter on your biscuits. Put a smile on your face. Oh, man. I love being alone at home because I can just be very weird. I like being weird. Hopefully it's entertaining. Okay, we're loading these up, loading them up. Butter, butter, butter. Butter makes better. I can't believe it's not butter. Okay, I don't know where I'm going with that. All right, let's stop with the craziness and put this in the oven. So we're gonna put it in for, I forgot. I have another baking sheet in there I need to take out later. We're gonna put it in for 15 minutes. And we're gonna turn it around halfway through. How we doing on battery here? I think we're doing all right. Yeah, we're gonna turn it around halfway through. We're gonna eat this bacon, actually. Let me tell you how this thick piece is. Hey, that's pretty good. I mean, this bacon is not as good as the brand I usually get. But the brand I usually get, because I don't eat bacon very often, is, it's also a local one. But I think they distribute maybe nationally or something, but it's like 11 bucks, 10 bucks. But it's really freaking good. Anyway, just gonna start cleaning up here. Boy, very buttery. Very buttery brush. Look at this nasty sponge. Alright, hopefully there's enough battery left in this GoPro. I might have to get another battery, because it seems like it runs out before I'm done recording, or at least it did last time. Anyway, yeah, just cleaning up. I kind of enjoy this part of cooking too, the cleaning up part. It's kind of relaxing. I just like spending time in the kitchen. That away. This, don't really need to put that in the dishwasher. It just had some flour in it. So we'll get that back with its brethren. That is not dry. Cheese grater. Boop. Scissors. This cup. So one thing that I was thinking of doing during this cooking series is just kind of like telling stories from my past, starting, with being a youngin'. And I was trying to think of what my earliest memory was, because I kind of had it remembered recently, and then I forgot. But one of my early memories is actually like walking to, so I would go to this daycare, and I remember liking this daycare, but I remember not liking the fact that we had to take a nap in the middle of the day. And so I never liked that, but it was like a daycare that we did a lot of stuff. Like, they had a cool backyard, and we hung out in that backyard a lot. We went on walks. They did have a computer, and I always wanted to play computer games on it, but we weren't allowed to. Only their kids lived there, and they were older, and so they would be, allowed to play the computer games, and I was always like, I want to play the computer games. Anyway, so I'd go to that daycare, and then at a certain point in the day, like, they only watched kids until probably early afternoon or something. And my mom was single, and she raised me for the most part. Like, I lived with her, so my parents have been divorced since I was a baby. And so I lived with her and visited my dad every other weekend. And so she worked at the hospital, and worked full time. And so once that daycare ended, she was still at work. Battery's getting a little low. And this bench scraper I usually just rinse off and reuse. I'm not too worried about it being super clean. But anyway, so this one daycare would end, and sometimes I would get picked up, and sometimes I wouldn't, or I don't know. It's so far back, because I was probably, 3 or 4 or something like that. And so that one would end, and so then I would leave, and I would have to walk to another daycare that went later. And that daycare was like the cool but kind of weird daycare, because I think they just didn't really care what was happening. And I just remember watching a bunch of kids play Aladdin for the Sega Genesis. And I never got a turn, because I was too shy to ask, or I would ask and they would just ignore me, because they were a little bit older. 9 minutes on that. And so that was I feel the majority of the time, we would just go down to the basement, and I would watch kids play Aladdin on the Sega Genesis, and I feel that's the only game they ever played, which is fair, because it's a pretty good game. But I just remember also in that same place, Pogs were, this was when Pogs were really popular, and so everyone would bring their Pogs and compare Pogs, and just be yeah, let's trade Pogs. And I remember going to the dollar store and getting Pogs at the dollar store. You'd get this huge tube full of Pogs for $1, because they're freaking, just pieces of cardboard with pictures on them. I kind of wish they would come back, honestly, because they're kind of cool. There was just stupid shit on them, a surfboarding dinosaur or something, a lot of 90s stuff. And so, and getting the ones at the dollar store, you'd there was a bunch of just weird really crappy designs. But there was such a variety in Pogs. But there would be like sets of Pogs, you know, that all had like a theme or the same artist. Anyway, let's flip this around. Ooh, man, these are getting... They're puffing up quite a bit. Alright. Can't tell if I flipped that 180 degrees or 360. Yeah, Pogs. And then I just remember, like, kids. There was, like, a kid that was, like... I don't know. Everyone was, like, showing their underwear for some reason, and they were like, show me your underwear, and I was like, I don't wanna. It was kind of weird. Kind of a weird thing. I mean, it wasn't like that bad. It was just like they just wanted to see like design on everyone's underwear, and it's just like you just lift, you know, just like lift it up a bit. It wasn't like take your pants off, but I just remember that making me uncomfortable. And for some reason it stuck in my memory. And yeah, I remember there was a kid, I think he was at that second daycare, because the first daycare was like mostly really young kids, and it was like, oh my god, I don't know my own strength. It was like, I swear I sweep this kitchen like 3 times a day. Yeah, so the first one was like a legit daycare where I think they even like were teaching us stuff, so I guess it was probably preschool. And the other one was a daycare. And then, yeah, the second one was like older kids, and I don't even remember what the people there looked like. I remember the people from the first daycare a little bit, but yeah, the other ones were just very hands-off. And I remember this kid, Charlie, and I really liked him because he was also like small and shy like I was. I was a very small child up until like junior year of high school. And I liked that his name was Charlie because Charlie is a rad name. And so we were friends, and he was like one of the first, like, you know, non-family friends that I had that I like invited to my birthday party. And it was probably my like third or... Alright, so my GoPro died. Okay, I can't hold it like that. Yeah, it was like my 3rd or 4th birthday, and I lived in a trailer park for most of my childhood. And so he came over, and his parents dropped him off, and I think it was like his first time, you know, being without his parents. So I just remember him like crying a bunch and like, you know, kind of freaking out because his parents weren't there. But I remember that like he must have been from like a poorer family as well. Like I was also in a poor family. And so they, instead of using wrapping paper, they used newspaper to wrap my birthday present. And I thought that was the coolest thing ever. I don't remember what he got me, but I remember that I thought that the fact that my present was wrapped in newspaper was so freaking rad. So yeah, I don't know. Kind of a weird memory. I think that might have been the first birthday, or the same birthday where I had this cake that had a bunch of like plastic dinosaurs on the top. And I blew out the candles, and my cousin, who was a little bit younger than me, and I was young, you know, I was like 3 or 4. And I remember she took one of the dinosaurs off of the cake, and I was like so upset because I was like I wanted to take the dinosaur off the cake. That was the thing I was looking forward to the most about this cake. And then I like went under a table and cried. It was just like, I remember at the time, like afterwards, feeling like that was dumb. That wasn't worth crying about. And that was like one of the first times where I felt like ashamed for crying and like kind of, you hit that moment where you're like, maybe I shouldn't be like crying about everything anymore. I'm freaking 3 or 4 years old. I can't be doing that all the time. Look at those little biscuits. Pretty good. Pretty good. Also, I got this new oven mitt. It's a pig. Look at that. It's a really weird looking pig. Anyway, here's the biscuits. They look pretty good. Some of them look a little funky, these ones, but they kind of look more like scones almost, because it kind of looks like they have chocolate chips in them, which I kind of wish they did, but it's bacon, which is also good. Looks like they got pretty well cooked. Pretty hot, but I'm gonna taste this little guy. They're definitely not as good as the other ones. The buttermilk biscuits that required sour cream. And surprisingly, I don't taste a ton of, I really don't taste the parmesan. Maybe a little bit. Maybe it's because it's still so hot. But get some bites of crunchy bacon in there. They're all right. They're pretty good. I'm going to be happy to eat all these. Probably going to make some sausage gravy tomorrow morning for these bad boys. And yeah. If you're going to make a biscuit and you have this cookbook, I recommend the buttermilk biscuits over these biscuits. But heck, you know what? I'm going to take a single bite out of one of these bigger ones to see. Okay. There we go. So, yeah, they're pretty good. Kind of hollow inside, but this one's a little cheesier. Anyway, they're good. What can I say? They're biscuits. They're not the best. They're not as good as the other ones I made, but that's it. You learned how to make some biscuits. You heard some stories about my very early childhood and the weird daycare that I went to. I mean, it wasn't that weird, all things considered. There's another daycare that I went to that will be a story for another time now. That daycare, some really weird stuff happened. Well, I don't know. Not really weird, but weird stuff compared to this other daycare. Anyway, that's it for me. This recipe is completed. Thanks for watching. If you, there's not really anyone watching these videos right now. But if you are watching and you enjoy, make sure to like and subscribe. Help me, get a little momentum here. And if you know anyone else that just wants something to play in the background, kind of as background noise, or while they're playing a game or while they're working, it's a good type of video to have playing on a second screen, so share it with them. Just, yeah. Anyway, thanks for watching. Catch you next time.